Thanks a lot, sir. I would request Dr. A.S. Chawala, the Honorable Registrar of Punjab University, to give up his opening remarks on this.
Thank you very much. I will also pick up some threads from previous panel in which lot many things were being discussed related to private university, public universities, students, teachers, lot many things. One thing was mentioned, and that was that we are passing through a stage when India has young population. Median age by next 5 years it will be around 28 years, which means that we have a large community which needs education right now. And when we have such a big size of population, students community, we are also passing through a middle class dilemma where the role of parents comes in. What we all are doing, sitting here, so many people sitting outside, moving in the society, are we sending all those people who are going in technical management and other professional education who wants to go there? This is a big question, because last 30 years, 35 years when I've been teaching, I find that large number of persons, they are not meant for that. They are not themselves interested in coming to technical education. We want to make them engineers. They may not be fit for becoming engineers. They may be good for so many other things in which they can contribute towards the society. But parents want them to go for engineering job. Why? Because they should be engineers, they should be manager, and this is somewhere dignity is associated with it. What is happening in US? Things are different because there is a dignity of labor. If we have a dignity of labor in India, people may even like to go in for polytechnics or some small technical trades in which they can excel. That things have not been focused on at all. I remember one of the instances, one of our colleagues working as head of the department in Wilkes University in USA, Pennsylvania. One day I visited his place and he prepared fantastic pizza for us. I was wondering, how can you make such a good pizza? He said, this is something which I like. After 8-10 months, when I get bored from my teaching job, I go and I work in pizza, being head of the department in one of the universities. Because he doesn't mind going in a pizzeria and making pizza, learning out of the process, because this is his passion. He said, while I was a child, I for a number of years worked in a pizzeria. Are these kind of things there in our own families also, where we may not hesitate sending guy who wants to go for singing or wants to go in for doing some paintings or fine arts, and then he is in a position to come out with skills which may be very good in advertising. Otherwise, teaching advertising in a class may not be very much attractive for him, but when he learns through paintings, arts and other things, that may become one of the fantastic things for him to do. But middle class families, they want our kids to become engineers, our kids to become, without any aptitude for that kind of profession, they should be in the engineering classes. This is something which is happening. And because of that, we are finding qualitative problem in the output which we have from engineering colleges. Engineering colleges alone are not responsible for this. Technical institutions are not only responsible for this. This is because there are few things which even our students are not interested in, to whom we are trying to impart. We are talking about private universities and public universities. It is from the funding angle we are talking about, or it is from the autonomy angle we are talking about. If it is funding part, I totally disagree with the system which we have, because private universities also need some kind of support from the government. No education system can work properly unless government come forward in one way or the other. You are talking about private universities in US, top universities in US, private universities. You are talking about Harvard Business School. How many students pay fees from their own pocket in Harvard Business School? I remember when I was there in 2001, I was told by Michael Porter that 80% of our students who pay hefty fees, they are sponsored students. So no problem. Whatever money they require, industry is paying their fees, institution is getting money, and they don't face any problem as far as finances are concerned. Is it happening in India? I mean, students goes to a school and right in the beginning, he gets all that money paid by somebody and he doesn't have any problem as far as going in for the excellent education he is referring to. Government, they have to come forward. 70-75% of funding, even in some of the private universities, is given by the local governments. Go to different institutions, infrastructure development there. Who are the people who have constructed those buildings and rooms in US universities? You will find only variable cost is taken care of through the business model which private universities has. Rest, everything come in the form of endowment from one person or the other, which is a big supporting base. We have to come out with such systems in India also, where private universities are also getting some kind of support from either government or somewhere, industry or whatever you want to call. Because research orientation will not come till the time their business model is going to work perfectly. And business model of all these technical institutions will never work perfectly if they are not depending only on fees. It will not work. They have to depend upon some sources from from the government or other stakeholders who could be there in those institutions. I have gone through some 31, 32 institutions in India for accreditation process. In a couple of institutions, I was the chairperson of the committee. What I found in all those cases, out of 31, 29 I rejected just because they were not in a position to make score in research and development activity, whatever score has been kept for that. Why they were not in a position to do that? What were the reasons? Because they were not in a position to put money for the research and development activity. They were to sustain. They were to, if you go in for excessive attracting people, paying money to the faculty and whatever, if they have to spend, they cannot spare money for research and development. There are different models for that. Ask private technical institution that if you contribute 50% for research and development activity, 50% will be the government's money which will come forward, they will pay. AICT will pay or University Grant Commission will pay or whosoever will pay. You will find so many technical institutions will come forward. But otherwise, it is very difficult for them to carry on. There may be few. I remember one of the institutions, top class institution in India, ranked amongst first 25 institutions. We were in the accreditation process and they were not in a position to make it. I was one of the members, and the director of one of the IAMs was our chairperson. Towards the end, when we were scoring, he said, we cannot refuse accreditation to this institution because they are ranked so high. If we are not giving them required score, probably we will be questioned. And there were too much of an argument on this particular aspect because, amongst first 25 ranked, and you are not in a position to make in research aspect. Otherwise, they were making good score in everything. And the guy, director of that institute said, please bring me the score of IIM Ahmedabad. As far as this part is concerned, then you can carry on with that kind of activity. This is something which is happening with IIT, IIMs also. We do talk about that to be, as one of the path breakers, but again, situation is they get best of the people, so best of people are coming out. If you see in terms of their contribution, you can score them and find where their score of IITs and IIMs is there. Private institution, so many may be doing better than them, but the parameters are different when we are trying to score them, when we are trying to give accreditation to the different institution, parameters are different. So my focus once again will be that Make in India concept. For that, basic thing in the technical institution is going to be developing, research and development activity. For that, you have to have interested students in these institutions who really are in for engineering or technical trades. And then, whatever you have, there must be some kind of money flowing so that these institutions can also cross-subsidize even poor students who are coming to the field, but they are brilliant and out of their own resources they can do it, and whole of the process of research and development can take place. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, sir. You have really set out the foundations of this deliberation.